everyone, welcome back to another mid-season, off-season, quarantine edition of Hockey Talkie. My name is Clay. Thank you so much for tuning in. Now, just the other day, I did a podcast episode. Yes, I do have a podcast. I actually have two podcasts, and neither of them are about hockey. There'll be links in the description if you feel like checking them out. But basically, I did an episode about the PGA Tour's revised schedule for their upcoming season here that they announced last week. And I figured, why not do a video about how that might affect how the Blackhawks or the NHL or really any other sports league begins play again. So that's what this episode is going to be about. So let's get to it. So the PGA Tour announced last week that they would begin tournaments again in June, and that the first couple of tournaments, basically throughout June there would be no fans in attendance. Now, this is significant because this is the first professional sports league that has a set schedule come out in this time of uncertainty. We don't know about the NBA. We don't know about the NHL, obviously. We don't know about Major League Baseball, how those three leagues are going to resume play. The NFL, I mean, their season doesn't really start for a while now. But in terms of sports that should be playing right now, the PGA Tour golf is the only one where we kind of have a definitive answer about how we're getting back to normal in the sports world. Now, first and foremost, there are some key differences between golf and the PGA Tour and a sport like hockey and the NHL. Number one, the schedule. In golf, the PGA Tour, that's a year-round schedule. There is no set off-season time. Essentially, the players are independent contractors. So there's tournaments going on year-round, and they can pick and choose what tournaments to do. And if they want to take a couple weeks off to act as their kind of off-season, their recuperation time, they can do so. It's not like they have an 82-game schedule and then a set off-season, and that's when they rest and recover. It's just a year-round thing. I know it's kind of weird to think about with us who live in the northern climates, but during the winter, they go down to Florida and the Bahamas and Hawaii and all this other nice weather to go and play their sport. Hockey is a little bit different, at least in the NHL. You have the 82-game schedule through the winter, and then the summer is essentially the off-season. Well, right now we're eating into when the playoffs should be. We've ate into the end of the season, and then we're going to be eating into the scheduled off-season for hockey. And so where the PGA Tour is not really getting affected by the stoppage and starting of tournaments or play, this definitely does affect the NHL and the players and how they are going to be able to kind of schedule their recoveries and how that all plays out in terms of not only this year, but also next year. Now, when you start talking about recoveries for players, that brings up another big difference between the two sports. Golf is an athletic activity, especially at the pro game. Maybe not so before Tiger Woods came on the scene back in the late 90s, but nowadays it definitely is. You look at top golfers now and the workout regimens they have to do, or they do, to be able to swing the club faster and stronger, to be able to hit the ball miles in the air, and to be able to do that ability while walking 5 miles per day for 4 straight days in a tournament, like that takes some athletic ability. But it's not nearly the amount of physical toll that hockey takes on players, especially playoff hockey. And while golf is a sport that you can play very much away from everyone else, it's a pretty isolated activity. Hockey is different because you got 12 guys on the ice skating by and into each other, all in this little confined space. So when you look at the PGA Tour starting up play in June amongst this pandemic, it's a little easier to justify that than it is to justify getting a bunch of guys all hitting each other and playing right by each other and doing a physical activity together, especially before then, or really in that same time frame. In addition to that, you have cities like Calgary and Toronto banning sporting events through June 30th, Montreal banning sporting events in their city into July. So even if the NHL wanted to start up in June like PGA Tour is going to be, and have each team play in their own arenas, that really wouldn't be able to happen before essentially August. So that's where that whole play in a remote location idea kind of comes into play. Although I still think that is a long shot. I would be very, very, very surprised if that happens, because even with that, the logistics are pretty tough for that, just in terms of getting everybody there and the staff and finding a location for that for all the teams that are going to be playing, and to be able to practice and all that, and to be safe. Like, that is a lot of logistics for a single location. And not only that, but you have to convince players that they're going to be isolated from their family for like 2 to 3 months. I don't know about that. That's a tough sell. For me, that's not going to happen. But who knows? I've been wrong before. I think if anything, though, what we know from this PGA Tour schedule starting up in June is that that's going to probably be a guinea pig for the NHL and really any other sporting league, to kind of see how this whole playing games without fans, getting the league back going, how that's going to work, and give ideas of how that can be done for the other leagues. I don't think play for the NHL is going to start before August, if at all. And at that point, it's tough to get even just the playoffs in at that time, and then an off season to recoup a little bit, and then start play up, even if they push it back to November. Like, that's tough. Personally, like, in my opinion, like, this season's just done. But who knows? Nobody really knows right now. We're not anywhere closer to knowing than we were 40 days ago. So we're still in a holding pattern. We're still trying to just kind of look for some sort of light at the end of the tunnel, but best we can do is just kind of stay safe and make good decisions. And thank you so much for watching this episode. Like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate it as always. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. You know what to do. I'll see you next time.